11 overall, 1-5 in Northeast 10 conference play. For now, they are hanging out, holding up the rest of the conference, along with St. Michael's just below them. But both Franklin Pierce and St. Michael's will have more wins than they have amassed right now in league play, especially because of the coaches that lead the way. And for the Ravens of Franklin Pierce, that man is Mike Ruan, and that name should be familiar to many Pace Center fans, as Ruan, the longtime head coach of the University of Bridgeport, about an hour down the road. While with Bridgeport, 11 NCAA tournaments for Ruan, 1 Sweet 16. Took that job and went a year to Palm Beach State and came back to the Northeast. He was a assistant at what was then Philadelphia Textile under the legendary Herb McGee, for the native of Alvernia, just outside of the greater Philadelphia area. It's not been a lot of success at Franklin Pierce for Ruan, who is 410 and 259 in his career, but just 6-36 in his second year at Franklin Pierce. He's joined on the sidelines by Art Leptowski, who is a Franklin Pierce Hall of Famer and the former head coach of the Ravens. In 25 years of collegiate coaching, Leptowski 386 and 325 in his career, 10 years at Pierce, and then 15 years at American International College. Then a long stint as an advanced scout in the NBA for Detroit, Cleveland, and New Orleans. So combined between the two coaches, nearly 800 wins, 796. So it's not for a lack of intelligence from a coaching perspective that the wins aren't coming for Franklin Pierce. A lot of injuries and other factors, and a big problem with guard play has limited the success of the Ravens. But one of the reasons for the problems at the guard spot have been a couple of injuries, and certain players are back in the lineup today and coming off a victory against American International. The Ravens hoping to extend that to a winning streak of 2 in a row. The Ravens are led by Dante Pope, the transfer from Emmanuel, a Division III school in which he scored 1,375 points. While he has been dynamic, 19th in the nation in field goals attempted, so he's a high-volume shooter. But what I like about Pope is he's 11th in the nation in field goals made, which means he's chucking them up and knocking them down at a high percentage. 19th in the Division II men's basketball landscape in points, second in the NE10 to Justice Ellison of AIC, who is at 23.5 points per game. And in case you're wondering, Ellison has taken more field goals than anyone in the nation. So it's no surprise that Pope should follow Lord tonight. Seemingly that's generally what happens. The graduate student at 21.5 points per game, but also leading the team in assists and defensive rebounding, which shows you the motor in Pope extends to both ends of the floor. He'll be joined on the floor tonight by Demariante Hall, the transfer from a JUCO that participated in the same league that Mike Ruan coached in for a year, Gulf Coast State. The native of Atlanta, second on the team in scoring while leading the team in both blocks and rebounding. Coming off a very good game, 13-8 against AIC. Jaquise Kemp gets his 10th start of the season. The transfer from Pasco Hernando State College tallied 13 against AIC, where the 6'3" senior from Lakeland, Florida, averages just over 8 points per game. Pierce Prendergast He was injured for the most part of the season, has started the last 6 games, averages just under 30 minutes a game while scoring 9 points and pulling in 4.5 rebounds. The transfer from American is a native of Bayport, Long Island. Zaire Miller, the transfer from Graceland, which is in Iowa, and did not graduate Elvis, has his 10th start of the season and leads the team in steals. Let's take a look at the standings in the Northeast 10 Conference, courtesy of northeast10.org. Leading the way, Assumption at 6-0, Adelphi 6-1. The Centers enter at 5-1. Southern New Hampshire 4-2. St. Anselm and Bentley 3-3. New Haven 3-4. American International 2-4. Southern Connecticut 2-5. Franklin Pierce 1-5. And St. Michael's 0-7. Well, the defending number 1 seed in the region yet to win a conference game should tell you just how good the NE10 is as far as the balance and how you have to stay up on that beam to keep winning. The Pace Centers women's basketball team, they won earlier today against Franklin Pierce, 51-44. Tower Lord starting for the first time this season, 16 points, 8 rebounds, as Pace gets a much-needed victory. One other game already underway in men's basketball action, non-conference affair between Southern Connecticut and Post in the in-state rivalry. And the Owls lead at the moment, 45-33. That's at the half. Well, we'll try to navigate the goings-on as the Director of Athletics is on the floor, Mark Brown, along with Matt Healing, and they're back to the camera. This is hard to set up here because the fans are all on the opposite side of the benches while the camera is on the bench side. So you're seeing on the left of your screen the Director of Athletics. Well, we'll try to get the screen set up there as Trey Alexander hit the 1,000-point plateau, number 55, the old speed limit. Trey Alexander in his career, and what a career it's been, 1,119 points, 362 in the rebound department, 634 assists, and 18 double-doubles, including 8 this year. For Pierce, it's Prendergast, Miller, Hall, Kemp, and Pope. For the Centers, Keeley, Boyd, Nurse, Hobson, and Alexander. Franklin Pierce women's basketball team was wearing the All Blacks tonight. The grays are being sported by the men's version of the club.
6'6" junior from Atlanta, number 5, DeMariante Hall. High forward, 6'3" senior from Lake Mac, Florida, number 13, John Kemp. High forward, 6'5" grad student from Middletown, Connecticut, number 23, Dante Pope.
Well, as you hear the starters for the Ravens announce, a chance to tell you that Pace University Athletics is brought to you by corporate partners, including Northwell Health, Northern Westchester Hospital, and Phelps Hospital, the official healthcare provider of Pace Athletics. And they sponsor the starting lineups. Let's listen in.
6'5" junior from Central Richard, New York, number 1, Jaden Keeling. High forward, 6'8" junior from West Jersey, number 22, Josh Hobson. At guard.
Yeah, Hobson has raised his play this season, thanks in large part to Jamal Waters. They're putting up very similar numbers for Matt Healing. And Jabari Nurse, the junior from Beantown, poised for a big game today. As the season goes on, we'll keep you up to date, but at the current pace, Trey Alexander could become the NE10 single season record holder in assists. A little too early to be thinking about those types of things, but the Ravens are the team in front of the Setters, the obstacle tonight. It'll be DeMariante Hall against Josh Hobson to get things underway. Our officiating crew, Kevin McGuire, Joe Carmissione, and Brandon Kamel. It's Alexander. Slings on the left side to Nurse on the curl to the free throw line. Inside, working through contact, misses. Offensive rebound, put back, finish for Jaden Keeley. Get a feeling he wants a big night tonight after being held down in the last couple of games. And Keeley up front. Talked to Mike Ruan before the game. He would challenge his guards to perform, and a give and go work to everything but the finish for Kemp. And on the turnaround, Miller can't get the one in tight to fall, and Pace comes out with it. Boyd hounded by Kemp, and Alexander will reset, 20 and rolling on the shot clock. Nurse between the rings, gets a Hobson screen on the bounce to Boyd on the NE10 logo on the left side. Boyd tees up the three. That misses everything out of bounds. Prendergast had a brother on this team, but a foul on the entry drive will result in free throws for Franklin Pierce for Pope. Pope, 7th in the conference in free throws attempted, 6th in percentage, and 6th in makes. Has a chance to get the score back even in the early going. And the first free throw or the first foul of the game called against Alexander, and if there's one person who knows how to play without fouling, it's Trey. Pope good on the free throw. Be easy to see why Pope didn't get a lot of looks from big-time programs out of high school, but after what has to be a Hall of Fame career at Manual of Massachusetts, he's put together one heck of a season, completely off of everyone's radar. Hobson in the low block. Bumping, lefty hook shot misses. Offensive rebound, Keeley. Extra pass, Nurse. Left arc triple. This is off the heel. Rebound taps to Kemp. Setters back defensively. Nobody turns the ball over in the nation more than Franklin Pierce. They are last of 290 teams in Division II. The runner straight through for Hall, and the Ravens lead by 2. Bounce on the low block, Keeley's righty finish for Keeley. He has all 4 of the center points. Second tie of the game. Pope had it knocked away by Nurse. Alexander picks up the loose change. Keeley saw the ball go through his hands. Alexander, from where Nurse just missed from, snakes to the free throw line. Quick pass to Hobson, who wasn't ready for it. goes off Hobson's chest and is then deflected out of bounds by Hall. It'll be a baseline inbound for Trey, and the double nickel will step back a little bit off the Pace University logo to inbound. A screen for Boyd, but instead the ball lost on the entry drive, and the Ravens come away with it. You try to take it to the basket a lot against Pace, you're going to have situations like that for Hall, where the defense just collapses on you, and what appears to be an uncontested layup turns into a miss, and Nurse, just like that, strong to the bucket, getting downhill. First points for anybody not named Keeley, and the Senators back on top. The Senators can take your will away. Miller the three. This one's off the brick. Rebounded by Nurse, who immediately looks for Trey, who has his head on a swivel. And lagging off defensively, Franklin Pierce. Keeley, lane left, bouncing against Prendergast. Shovels a pass to Boyd. Bench side three. That's perfect. He turns and hooves and hollers to the Franklin Pierce bench. That'll get the attention of most teams, but the Senators backing it up with business. Lead 9-4. Alexander monitors Miller. Prendergast watched by Keeley. Nice snake off by Alexander, and it strips it right away from Kemp. Alexander on the bounce to Nurse, who misses the dunk attempt and is now laying on his back on the floor on the baseline. A layup missed on the other side, and Nurse still just getting back to his feet. Ball's knocked out of bounds, last touched by Franklin Pierce. Boy, Nurse holding his right wrist. This might not be the worst time to get him on the bench, but it's almost as if he could have just gone up for a layup, tried to be a little too fancy, and things like that can change seasons. Value the orange. A three for Hobson. Off the heel, tipped by Keeley, but it caroms to Hall. Jamal Waters off the bench, first sub of the game for Matt Healing. He'll come into the next dead ball. Miller directing traffic, finds Pope on the E and NE10, dribbles the ball off his leg and out of bounds. Pope is being bothered by the tenacious defense. It's his second turnover, and the Senators with a chance to dig in. Waters has Hobson as Nurse stays on the floor. This Pace Center team, tough. Leading by 5, under 15 minutes to go. Working left, Alexander hesitates on the bounce. Inside the lane, chest a pass to Boyd. Sidesteps a defender, rises up, and hits. It's a triple for Trey. And the Senators triple it up, the Ravens, 12-4. The ball on the bounce goes out of bounds. So it'll be another Raven turnover. And a first Mike Ruan substitution as Trevon Thomas, playing 18 minutes a game since his return, the sophomore from Oak Park, Illinois. Some bench depth, easy for me to say. Alexander on the baseline, staring at Greenwood. Just checked in as well. Alexander on the drop for Waters is fouled, and he'll be free throws for Waters. The Senators in the last game had 0 first half assists against Southern New Hampshire, already 4 in this one. And with 0 first half assists for the team, that meant Trey didn't have any, which is almost inexplicable, and already making up for lost time, has 3 in the opening minutes of this one. First free throw for Waters, too strong. I wouldn't want to make the Senators angry. If I was Franklin Pierce, you'd probably want to have Pace undefeated, maybe hope that they take you lightly coming in, 1 of 2 from the charity stripe for Waters. But this is a focused Pace team. They seem like they are digging in on both ends, and that cannot be good news for FPU. 13-4 the score, approaching 14 minutes into the first half. Pick and roll. This is Hall. Strong through 3 players, but not strong enough. Keeley had the rebound, turned it over, and then a block. I said there was a lot of basketball on that, but a little bit of body on the downside. 4 points, 3 rebounds for Keeley, but a costly turnover on that possession. Gives the Ravens a chance for some points off the turnovers. The Ravens are perfect from the free throw line and miss. Nobody shoots it worse in the Northeast 10 Conference from the free throw line than Franklin Pierce at 65%. And when you're playing a team like Pace, which gets to the free throw line and converts very efficiently, you have to maximize your freebies. 1 of 2 for the Ravens, and the lead is 8 for the Setters. And new player in the game, Henry White, the transfer from Jones Community College, that's located in Mississippi, averaging 3 points and 1 rebound. The native of Simsbury, Connecticut. Several players from Connecticut on this roster. You have to wonder how much of the Bridgeport pipelines, Boyd had it knocked away on the entry drive by Pope. You have to wonder how much of the Connecticut connections are from Mike Ruan's coaching days at the University of Bridgeport. 13 on the timer, 13:28 emblazoned in red on the first half clock. Offensive foul called, no bucket. An illegal screen on the entry, inbounds, and it'll be called against Boyd. So 3 different setters, all with 1 foul, and that's only the 3rd turnover of the game for Pace. Abubakar Wage took it strong with the left hand, threw it up, and he'll get rewarded with free throws. The native of Brooklyn played last season for Texas College. A little different from the University of Texas, but Texas College is an NAIA school located in Tyler, Texas. The lefty knocks down the first free throw, averaging about 17 minutes a game in 11 games of action. Was out since December 14th, but back in the lineup today. Two of 2 at the free throw line. Only 1 field goal so far in this game for Pierce, but they're in the game 13-6. Just over 13 minutes to play in the first. Keeley, lane left, faces Prendergast, now steps him. The righty force on the left side, misses. It's one of those that could have been a pretty easy finish with the left hand, but still more comfortable with the right is Keeley, and when you're shooting it at that high of a percentage, hard to argue. Pope double team. Fergus knocked it away. Waters looking for a little finish, and I think that's more what Matt Healing wants. If you can't get the dunk, get the 2 points. I think if that dunk hit off the heel and went to the ceiling, Matt Healing may have followed the basketball up with it. Centers back up by 8, 15-7. 3 from Pope. Too strong. Rebound Prendergast. Offensive putback rejected by Nurse. And saved in by Pope, but right to Waters. Up ahead, pass to Keeley from Alexander, and the mini slam from JK. No joke. Pace 17, Ravens 7. The free-flowing game is exactly what Trey Alexander likes. Prendergast tees up a 3, way too strong. A defensive rebound. Nurse looks for Alexander, who was hoping for a diagonal pass to Waters, but it was well defended. Fergus, Alexander left side on the bounce to Keeley against Prendergast. Double team comes, a wide open Nurse for 3. That's good. It's the third three of the game for the Senators and the first for Nurse. And it's a new biggest lead, 13 for Pace. Pope inside, lays it in. It's actually Gatewood, Caleb Gatewood, the native of Tampa, Florida, has 3 starts on the season. 20-9 Senators. Mike Ruan did the same thing at Bridgeport. He'll bring them to you in waves, generally playing a rotation between 10 and 13 players at all of his stops. A foul called on the fight through or the screen. The foul's on White. That's the second foul on the team. Christian Adams in the game for the first time, the native of New Haven, Connecticut. Ball remains with Pace. 449 points in his career. Was a freshman starter in 1920. His battle injuries for the sixth-year player. He has it now. Over to Darren Fergus, the two-time transfer. Bounces to Trey, near side corner. The fadeaway scrapes paint off the front rim. Pope picks up the change. Fires up ahead to White. Looking at Fergus. Good defense. He's getting into the grill of White. Prendergast on the bounce. Tough catch for Hall. Hall turns, steps through, and finishes. Nice offensive maneuver for Hall. The lead's 9. Trey Alexander yet to score in this one, but 4 assists. You know he wants double figures in that department. Nurse to Adams on the weave in the mid lane to Waters, high dribble. Tough shot, missing. Lucky he wasn't called for a foul. Fergus on the ball, Hawk, with the steal. He saw that one coming from a mile away and a shot clock malfunction. It's at 15, but it probably should be significantly higher than that. It should have been a reset to 30. So we're probably looking at about 27 on the shot clock, considering Fergus had the ball for 3 seconds, and that's exactly what it is. 10:04 remaining in the first. Pace up by 9. Hobson was all alone for a second, let the defense come to him, and then is fouled on his shot attempt. You know, sometimes you're just expecting defense to be there, and it isn't. And that was the case for Hobson. Has a chance for his first points at the free throw line. The Senators shoot at second best in the conference. Only AIC is better. Pace at 74% on the season. Hobson makes the first. It's always nice when you can get the bigs to shoot it at a pretty high clip, and Hobson at 70% on the season. It's a situation where late in games you have confidence enough to have Josh Hobson on the floor to hit a big free throw for you. The Senators doubling up the Ravens 22-11. Kemp sees Nurse, passes the basketball on the other side to Thomas. It's an offensive foul. Thomas pushed off, and why not? And this defense, it's smelling what they had for dinner. That's how close they are to the grills of these Ravens. Fergus with a chance to run point. Alexander on the weak side at the moment, setting a screen. For Christian Adams taking the 3. Misses, and Trey Alexander willing to set a screen off the ball, doesn't touch it on the possession. Total unselfishness from the team leader. Pull up on the baseline for Kemp is good. First bucket for Kemp. 5th player to score for Franklin Pierce. 22-13, the numbers. Nurse beats Miller and knocks it down. When you can knock it down off the bounce with that much ease, knock down shots on the catch and shoot, and take it to the 10 downhill with success, that's a triple threat position. Jump shot miss Kemp. Offensive rebound Franklin Pierce, just the second of the day. And they immediately throw it out of bounds. 8th turnover for Pierce. Nathaniel Smith back in. On the floor with Hall, Miller, Prendergast, and Kemp. Alexander, Nurse, Hobson, Adams, and Fergus, the 5 for Matt Healing. It's Fergus on the curl, slings it to Nurse, and an offensive foul called against Hobson, establishing position inside. Trey Boyd picked up 2 fouls, and he's on the bench, and Hobson is called for his first. A timeout called by Franklin Pierce. This is a 30-second timeout, and we'll keep it right here. Pace University basketball is brought to you by SES Technologies, Chartwell's Dining Services, Coca-Cola, the official soft drink of Pace University Athletics, the Anthony Family Foundation for Autism Support, Frank and Joe's Deli, Lucio's Pizza, Pace's Athletics official pizzeria, Philadelphia Insurance Companies, Ticket Smarter, Soul Brewing Company, West Point Tours, and of course the 19th Hole Indoor Golf Bar and Restaurant in Ossining. Prendergast, the setters pick up a little full court pressure. Adams and Fergus have Pope all tied up and quickly getting it across to the Ravens. And alley-oop was intended initially for Hall, but he'll have to settle for the simple lay-in instead. And Pierce has sliced the lead to single figures again at 24-15, 8 minutes remaining in the first. Adams, monitored by Prendergast. Fergus, sling for Hobson, takes the 3. That misses. Offensive rebound, Nurse. Can't get that one to fall. Ball is loose and pulled in by Kemp. It's a 3-on-2. Alexander stops basketball. Runner doesn't fall by Pope. Rebounded to Nurse. And Hobson again was moving towards the rim without the basketball. He's got to be more patient and let the ball come to him. And that's a layup. Second time that's happened today, and the result is a turnover charge to Hobson. Can't get a much better pass than that. All of a sudden, Pace hasn't scored in 2 minutes, and quietly Franklin Pierce has stabilized the game. Kemp, double team approaches to Hall, straight on through. That has to be an offensive foul, if not anything else. It just lost out of bounds. It'll be a Franklin Pierce turnover. Well, I don't know how that wasn't an offensive foul, and Mike Ruan is looking for a defensive foul, but he's really lucky that it wasn't an offensive foul called against his own team. Under 7 minutes to play in the first half. Setters could get the lead back into double figures. Alexander bumped on his shot attempt. Count it. Alexander with his first bucket on only the second shot and should be at the free throw line right now. I think Matt Healing's thinking the same thing. Smith saw the double team, and Waters came out a little bit too far, commits the foul. It's the 6th foul on the home squad, and that'll mean free throws the rest of the way on defensive fouls for FPU. Kemp has to get it in by Nurse, and can't do it. Fergus stole it. He's ahead of Pope, and a two-hand flush for Never Nervous Darren Fergus. The other way, counted in a foul for Kemp. Pretty nice move for Kemp, but the authoritative completion for Fergus got the attention of the fans moments earlier. The completion of the three-point play, the old-fashioned way, for Kemp. 5 points. Waters, the ball stuck for a second. Alexander, the ball never sticks. Back into Waters, just shy of the restricted area. Had a cutting Keeley for a moment. Tough look, though. 6 to shoot for Trey. Alexander, fadeaway jump shot. Misses, weak side rebound. Fought for by Keeley and gained, and he has his shot blocked by Prendergast. And Matt Healing can't believe it. And frankly, neither can I. Layup on the other side is good for Hall. And a timeout called by Franklin Pearson. That may have saved Matt Healing from picking up a technical foul. And you just have to make that call if you're this officiating crew. It can't catch you by surprise. The hands came down, and it was a foul. But whatever the case, Mike Ruan calls a timeout, and we'll take one as well. Back in a dash with more Senators basketball after this. The Pace Senators lead the Ravens 28-20. You're watching NE10 Now and Flow College. Well, some news from Waltham, Massachusetts, where St. Michael's and Bentley are tied at 35 at the half. Cooper Farrell tonight scored Bentley's first 19 points. It almost seems like it's impossible. It's not even a regional record, but it's a pretty cool stat. We thought we'd bring that to you. We'll have all the scores from around the NE10 coming up at the half. Tim McCaffrey, courtside with you on NE10 Now and Flow College. Keeley snakes in, lost it for a second, and then got it back and lost it again. Pope, monitored by Justin O'Neill, the Bedford Bulldog in the game for the first time, and stealing it right away was Trey Alexander, who was fouled. I mean, I didn't even see Trey on the other side. He was blocked out like by the sun, and he just came away with the basketball. O'Neal on the near side elbow, bounces to Keeley. Fergus to the far side of the logo. Alexander between the circles through the key. Lays it up, misses. Prendergast with the D-board clear, and Alexander knocks the arm of Prendergast and commits the foul. It's his second foul, and with 5 minutes remaining in the first half, will Matt Healing roll the dice? No, he will not. That'll be the end of the half for Trey. Boyd on the bench with 2 and Alexander on the bench with 2, and free throws for Franklin Pierce. It'll be a 1-and-1 for Prendergast. The transfer from American makes the first free throw. Prendergast, a 55% free throw shooter, but that first one looked perfect, and the second one looked really good too. Really good mechanics, repetition on that free throw from Prendergast. Maybe a slight lean back on the second, but nothing that can't be worked through. Fergus had it knocked away in a hold foul. A good call by McGuire, Kevin McGuire, the official. Right, clearly Nathaniel Smith held Fergus and attempted to gain the basketball. It's the 6th team foul on the Ravens, who very quietly have gone on a 7-0 run that's expanded the last 2 minutes. And the lead is 6 for Pace. Fergus on the layup drill, on the feed from Keeley. That snaps the 7-0 Franklin Pierce run, and as we approach 4.5 minutes with Alexander and Boyd on the bench, with foul trouble, the Senators extend to an 8-point lead. Keeley had a hand in the passing lane, but it deflects to Pope, who knocks down the 3 and is fouled. the worst play in basketball, fouling a jump shooter from distance. And Jabari Nurse guilty as charged. And the Ravens have the momentum at the tail end of this first half and a chance to cut the lead to 4. You don't see it very often, a chance to cut the lead in half from 8 to 4, and it doesn't come to fruition. Just the second miss at the line for Franklin Pierce. 8 of 10 in this one. 30-25. Fergus on the handoff. Nurse looking to atone for what just happened on the other side, and he'll have a chance to do that with 2 free throws. 7 points, 5 rebounds for Nurse. First free throw off the heel. Second one good for Nurse, the junior from Massachusetts. Pace holds the 6-point lead, 31-25. Fergus, great defense on Pope, but Pope infallible on that play. 31-27, the lead for the Setters, and this is getting uncomfortably close. A steal stripped away by Kemp. The lay-in doesn't go, but a foul is called, and Matt Healing on the floor. I think that's the right call, but it's a little bit delayed, and that got Matt Healing's attention. And a timeout called by Pace, 31-27. This is a full timeout. And we'll take one as well. Back in a dash with more Senators basketball after this. You're watching on Flow College and NE10 Now. Now, just 8 assists for the Setters tonight, but 3 courtesy of Jaden Keeley, and that is a career high. Entered today's game action with 6 assists on the season. Earlier this year, Trey Boyd had a 7-assist game, and he has just 20 on the campaign. The first free throw missed from Kemp. Second free throw true, and it's been a very slow run, but it is 13-3 very quietly after the timeouts and all. Boyd to answer with his 2 fouls, misses. Him and Alexander both back on the floor. Really nothing else left to do for Matt Healing in the game of chess. Between the leg dribble, Smith snaked off by James, misses. And if you had Trey Alexander in the first half on the floor with Jaden James, you won the lottery. Boyd off the heel, and the rebound to Franklin Pierce. Jaden James playing in just his 9th game of the season. Came in with just 28 minutes of action. But Preston to duty here. Kickball violation called against Waters. The shot clock will reset to 20 with the game clock frozen at 2:26 in the first half. The Senators lead 31-28. Franklin Pierce with a chance to tie on this possession. It's Miller Hall, Prendergast, Pope, and Kemp with the shot. Misses. Weak side rebound, Keeley. 5 rebounds, 3 assists, 6 points for the junior. Crossover, layup, right hand on the left side for Trey. Alexander doubles his scoring output of the day, and the lead 5 for the home squad. Pope bumped by James, and it was pretty good defense, and James got the edge on him, Pope got the edge on him, and James, a little too close for comfort, knocks Pope down, and the foul is called. You know, Franklin Pierce last in the NE10 and 274th in the nation in fouling. That's not good. You don't want to be committing a lot of fouls if you're a team that's struggling to get wins. Both free throws good from Pope. He has 9. The lead is 3. The Senators on the flip side foul quite a bit as well, but not nearly as much as Franklin Pierce. James thought about the triple, keyhole pull up. Again, off the back iron. So many of these shots from Pace today have been heavy. And the Senators, once again, just haven't made a lot of field goals of late. Things have gone cold with the foul trouble. Bounce pass cut off by Keeley. I'm not sure who that was for, but was right to Keeley. Alexander, free throw line left. Bounce to Waters, lane left, righty baby hook. Perfect for Jamal. 5 points for the 2-time transfer. And Waters with 809 points in his career, past the 100-point plateau for this season with that bucket earlier, and a jump ball. Should be a jump ball. Now they're going to call it travel. Well, ball was hit by a Pace player, and that should have been a jump ball. I'm not sure why it wasn't. Mike Ruan is wondering why it's not, and I'm going to guess that the referees thought that there was no contact with the basketball, but ball's knocked out of bounds. Looked like that might have been touched by James, but they'll say Miller was the last to knock it out. Under a minute, Page with a chance for a 2-for-1. James tees up the far side 3, too strong. Rebounded by Pope. 9-second differential, shot and game clock. Pope dribbling, now backs it back out. Prendergast through the key, give and go, and the layup on the excellent feed from Miller. 3-point game, 35-32. The Senators with a chance to hold for 1. Alexander looked at by Kemp. Kemp still on Alexander. Waters on the left, bounce on the low block to Keeley, who lays it in as the horn expires in the first half. It's the 6th assist for Trey on the day, and Pace leads 37-32 at halftime. We'll be back in a few minutes with more of the halftime show. It's Pace 37 and the Ravens 32. You're listening or watching Pace University Senators basketball on NE10 Now and Flow College. And we welcome you back inside the Goldstein Fitness Center on the campus of Pace University, where after one half of play, the Centers lead 37-32 over Franklin Pierce, and leading the way for the home squad. 8 points apiece for Nurse and Keeley. 6 points, Trey Boyd. Jamal Waters tallied 5. Trey Alexander contributed 4, as did Darren Fergus. 2 on the scoreboard for Josh Hobson in playing but not scoring in that first half. Jaden James, Christian Adams, and Justin O'Neill. On the other side, Pope and Hall leading the way, 9 for each. Prendergast with 4, Kemp 6. And returning after some time away, and also getting on the scoreboard twice, for Franklin Pierce was Abubakar Wege, and the Ravens have it to start the second half, and an immediate foul called 11 seconds in. Third foul on Nurse, and Keeley, Boyd, Nurse, Alexander, all with 2 fouls in that first half. And Pope, right arc 3, misses, fell down, trying to draw the foul. Alexander with his first rebound of the day. Boyd looked at by Miller. Keeley, left-handed hook shot, misses. Rebounded by Pierce. Miller, Hall, Kemp, Prendergast, and Pope the 5 for Mike Ruan to start the second half. It's Hall getting the pass. Right-handed dribble 3 times. Back to Pope on the NE10 logo far side. On the bounce, Miller snaked off by Boyd, who got his feet tangled, and Miller went right by him for the first points of the second half. Nurse on the weave to Alexander. Over top pass, Boyd for 3. That's good. It's the third triple for Trey. Doubles the lead to 6. Pope, glared at by Nurse. On the lefty bounce, lane right, Hall. Struggling to find his footwork against Hobson. On the switch, Hall ran right into Keeley, who was called for a blocking foul, and that's his third. And score the bucket. Boy, unbeknownst to me, watching the blocking foul and the good call by the officiating crew, was that ball went through the bucket. A chance to slice the lead in half with a make. And that's the old-fashioned three-point play. Christian Adams checks in for Keeley. You need to be able to bring the energy at all times, in all moments, and perhaps Christian Adams can provide that spark off the bench. As Keeley will probably sit for about 3 possessions. Keyhole jump shot, Boyd, back-to-back buckets, and a heat check for Boyd. First player in the double figures for the Centers. Prendergast saw the double team, Hedging, Boyd gets back out, tries to attack. The three-pointer from Kemp misses, and the rebound clear by Nurse, who's pushed to the ground by Prendergast and helped up by Adams and Alexander. That's the A team. Alexander picked up in the backcourt. Kemp, 4 to get it across. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that should have been a 10-second violation. A layup by Alexander. Alexander, when that clock at 20, his right foot was still in the backcourt. But whatever the case, it'll be a bucket for Alexander and then a foul on a hand check foul called against Alexander, who wants a hook. Trey doesn't say much and knows the game very well, and he knows when he's getting discarded by an offensive player. And he slaps both hands on the side of his body. He does not like sitting out of any action. Third foul on Alexander. He joins Nurse and Keeley with 3 with 17:01 remaining in the second half. Ball goes off the leg of Pope, out of bounds. Second time he's done that, and Jabari Nurse gives some low fives to everybody on the bench, picking up the energy level. The Senators have led by as many as 13. 28-15 was that score with 6.5 minutes remaining in the first half. Now the lead is 7. Fergus hesitates on the dribble, lays it up, misses. Christian Adams with the offensive rebound, and a foul called on a loose ball. So with all the physicality of this game, the officials are being forced to call a lot of contact. Both teams accumulating the fouls. Fergus got a Hobson screen, drops it for Nurse, stakes in through the elbow, cut off by Miller. Boyd between the leg dribble, beats Pope, lays it in with the finger roll, counted at a foul. Nothing's more fun than an and one for Trey Boyd. The lead is back up to 9 for the Senators, and the home team back in control. It's a bounce on the end. The drop for Prendergast. He is fouled. Count it! And a foul! The fourth, or the second rather, three-pointer. And again, the worst play in basketball, fouling a jump shooter from distance. And that's the 4-point play the old-fashioned way, but there is no such thing as that because there was no 3-point line back in the day. So that day, at this point, was a long time ago. Offensive foul called against Pace, and Matt Healing can't believe it. They'll say Christian Adams picks up the foul, and Christian Adams, watched him play for 5 years, and he has not said much of anything to an official or anybody else, and he was caught very much off guard by that call. So whatever the case, it's the 5th team foul on Pace with 16 and change remaining. So this game is going to be played at the foul line in large portion. The Senators, one of the best defensive teams in the nation, and that's been a product of Matt Healing. The block by Boyd, out of bounds on the 3 attempt from Kemp. The 8th block of the season for Trey. 11 to shoot for FPU. Miller to trigger. Outlets to Kemp. Back to Miller. He shuffled his feet. Stolen by Hobson. Ball went right into his lap. Fergus head up. Crosses over and is fouled by Pope. Fourth team foul on the Ravens as this game has picked up intensity. Alexander, Hobson, Adams, Boyd, and Fergus, the 5 for Matt Healing. Boyd turns, faces, fires, takes the 3, and he's hit. And we have another foul on a 3-point shot. It'll be try to say this 3 times fast. It'll be 3 free throws for Trey. Boyd, an 84% free throw shooter entering today's play, rattles home on the first. 1 for 1 in his first attempt earlier this evening. Pace number 2 in the nation in field goal percentage defense. Number 5 in the nation, 3-point percentage defense. Number 8 in the NCAA in fewest points allowed per game. There is very little defensively this team does not do well. And offensively, they shoot it very well from the free throw line. And Trey Boyd gets 3. $17 for Trey. Pope regains in the backcourt. Adams knocks it away. Fergus with the steal. To Boyd. Hobson. Mid-range J for Josh. Boy, that looked good. First bucket for Hobson. Didn't need the hops on that one. Looks smooth like velvet on the J. On the deck, Hall, baby hook, misses. Pip back doesn't fall on the tip from Pope. Alexander with it, doing some fancy stuff, has it knocked away by Pope. It's a 2-on-3. He's got help in White to his right. That shot misses, but a foul is called on the loose basketball. It'll remain with Pierce. Despite having 20 players on its roster, it's hard to imagine Franklin Pierce wanting to get into an up and down game with the outstanding guard play of Pace. Keeley returns with his 3 fouls. Boyd, Nurse, and Alexander all playing with 3. Christian Adams with some valuable minutes. 7 minutes and just a rebound and a steal, but some days they need you and some days they don't, and Adams more than happy to oblige when he gets his number called, and I would expect some more time from him today, especially if this foul trouble continues to mount. White, Hall takes a jump shot, doesn't leave the ground, knocks it in. Took it like a free throw from just inside the right elbow, and Hall into, well, he's already into double figures now with 14. Lead 9 and a foul called on the interior against Franklin Pierce. Uwage has his hands skyward, but both teams now with 6 fouls. Keeley triple teamed and sneaking away with the basketball is Trey, dribbling with his left hand. Gets a screen from Hobson. Over to Keeley. Hobson single team, double comes on the approach. 3 for Trey Boyd. That rattles out. Strong side rebound. Pulled in by Uwage. The turn, awkward looking shot missed by Kemp, and then Boyd with a rebound, and he's bodied out of bounds, and that's a foul. Second rebound of the day for Boyd, and if every rebound comes with getting knocked on your chest that with that much physicality, the guard may not be too anxious to get many more of them, but with the Pace setters, you got to play through contact 24/7. Boyd a career-high 26 at Southern Connecticut last week. Knocks down the free throw, and hunting down another 20 burger as the lead is 10 for the Setters. Misses the first free throw in 6 attempts on the day. And the lead remains 10. 53-43, 13-45. A kickball called against Boyd. That shot clock will reset to 20. Both teams shooting free throws. Pace with 6 fouls. And the Ravens with 7 on every defensive foul the rest of the way. 13-44, frozen on the clock. And that ball was dribbled out of bounds by White. Alexander didn't appear to be near him. And the officiating crew says Franklin Pierce basketball. Matt Healing has not been pleased with the assignment of the officials today, but it's been a tough game to call. A lot of awkward plays. A cut to the lane by Thomas and the finish as the shot clock expires. And that gets the lead back into single digits, a more manageable 8, and more aesthetically pleasing on the scoreboard, 53-45. A lot of contact. 2 hands on Alexander, and he's getting frustrated. And great poise by Alexander to not lose his cool. He's been called for a couple hand check fouls and 2 hands to the hip. He was not happy. He wants the basketball on the near side and doesn't get it out of bounds. It'll be Pace basketball. 6 points, 7 assists, 2 steals, and a rebound for Trey as Justin O'Neal returns. Well, you kind of know how long Justin O'Neal is going to be in the game by the first time he touches it. Little dribble penetration, a hedge, and the first shot, if it's a pass instead of a shot, probably not going to be long for the game. A very sharp shooter as Fergus has it knocked out of bounds. Thomas with good quick hands, sneaking on the backside, and 5 to shoot. Alexander patiently waiting for the play to develop. Offensive foul called against Pace. It's Hobson on the illegal screen on the inbounds. That's the second foul on Hobson. Just about every important player in this game is in foul trouble. That generally gets coaches' attention, but a couple calls that looked pretty easy to make were missed, and that's really got the coach's attention. Henry White misses the 3. You want to stay away from the egregious errors. O'Neal couldn't get his feet set for the 3-point attempt. He should get one here. You can see that hedge coming. You have to pick your poison defensively as Alexander will get to the free throw line for 2 free throws. You have to pick your poison. You either drop down and stop Trey's dribble drive and leave a 50% three-point shooter all alone in Justin O'Neal, or you come down and commit a foul, as the case is here, on the one-on-one defense. Alexander will get another after converting the 1-and-1. The Senators 10 of 13 from the free throw line, 77%. 13 of 16, 81% for Franklin Pierce. Alexander makes both. 8 points, 7 rebounds, trying to figure out a way to accumulate his 9th double-double on the season. He leads the nation in assists. Prendergast with the finish. Keeley got open ahead of the field and lays it in. If you've got the ability to get open, Trey Alexander can find you. He can throw you open, too. They say quarterbacks in the NFL can throw you open. Baseline drive. Thomas, that shot misses, and this is going to be a foul on Justin O'Neal. Eight points, 8 assists, 2 steals for Alexander. The lead has been hovering between 10 and 8, what seems like an eternity. First free throw, perfect for Thomas. Second one, true as well. Thomas has 4, doubling his total from earlier and equaling his seasonal output. Alexander, free throw line right, knocks it home. Timeout called by Pace. Trey Alexander into double figures with 10, and the nation's leading assist man. 4 in the nation in double-doubles, 9th in minutes and 12th in steals, has given the Setters a 10-point lead. Back in a dash with more Setters basketball, and Pace leading Franklin Pierce 59-49. You're watching Pace University basketball on NE10 Now and Flow College. Oh, welcome back to the Goldstein Fitness Center. Pace has put on the press. This is tough to deal with. A lot of moving pieces. 3-on-2. Pope pulls up free throw line, knocks it in. Leads 8. Pope's been fairly quiet, but he's into double figures at 11. Pace defensively, you don't see them at the Division III level with the intensity and the ability. But Pope has done a very nice job trying to figure it out, and an offensive foul called against Waters off the ball. That's the 9th foul on Pace, which means that 2 fouls the rest of the way, or 2 shots the rest of the way defensively at every foul. For Franklin Pierce, they can figure out a way to get to the line. They'll get plenty of chances despite how poorly they shoot it from there. Prendergast to hand off Thomas on the floor with Hall and Kemp and Pope. Kemp has it. Working against Nurse to Pope on the baseline, but he stepped on the sideline as he gained the basketball. That's the 17th Franklin Pierce turnover. Setters hold 8 and the basketball with 10:35 emblazoned in red on the second half clock. Little full court pressure, man-to-man for Mike Ruan's club. Kemp takes a look at Alexander. This time he gets it across with plenty of time to spare. Waters with the solid screen. Alexander amongst the trees is fouled. It was all basketball from Prendergast, so I'd imagine that this foul should be called against Kemp. And it is. Free throws for Alexander. The Setters shooting at 71% from here, and Alexander an 88% free throw shooter on the season. Alexander 3 of 3 from here. Hobson 2 of 2. Boyd 5 of 6. Perfect again for Trey as he quietly has 12. As quiet as Trey can do things, just 2 assists away from the quietest of double-doubles. Prendergast crosses the timeline, finger rolls it to Pope. Fergus trying to fight over the top of the screen, and the double team comes, no switch. Hall lost it. Waters may have dislodged it. If not, Trey Alexander up ahead on the alley-oop. Too strong to Keeley, but Nurse found the basketball, come to him, took the 3, missed it, and Keeley last to touch it out of bounds. Now, that was not exactly how Matt Healing drew it up, but almost worked to perfection. The Pace Setters have not brought their best basketball today. but they are managing a way to keep Franklin Pierce at arm's length. Kemp, Prendergast, left arc. Keeley with the length. Just so hard to find any space to do anything. Backdoor cut was unsuccessful. Fergus up ahead, tried for a one-handed dunk, and they're going to be layup drill lines in practice. Matt Hilling hands on hips at this point. As Fergus misses the dunk, second dunk missed, and Fergus holding his left hand. I mean, Alexander turns, fires, misses, and a free throw or two coming up. I am sure of some of these open layup dunk attempts that Matt Hilling would much rather have the points than the fanciness. Alexander, an opportunity to get two more. .355 in his career. That's the number of assists at pace for Alexander. He gets 2 points from the free throw line. The lead is 12. That number ties him for 9th place. He already passed Fred Oglesby to move into 10th on the all-time list, now tied for 9th. Miller snakes inside, and he's fouled on his driving layup attempt. Rodney Reese and Trey Alexander, each with .355 in the assist department. And slowly but surely, Alexander narrowing the gap for the all-time single-season record on assistant coach Brandon Jacobs. The first free throw is perfect from Miller. Miller's been quiet. Just his 3rd point of the night. The lefty, 2 of 2 from the free throw line. 63-52. Actually, 63-53. Both free throws went up a little delayed. Alexander snakes inside, high off glass, misses. The rebound caroms to Hall. He's got Pope to his left. Hall takes it himself, lays it up, lays it in, counted it a foul. The Ravens, not dead yet. That is one thing about Mike Ruan teams, much like Matt Hilling teams. They're very Rasputinish. You've got to keep the pedal to the metal and keep working hard at both ends. A 3-point play for Hall. Well over his seasonal average. 17 for Hall, and this is as close as Franklin Pierce has been since the early moments of the second half. Keeley sees the double team, eludes it, fires up. Can't get it to fall, but it'll be free throws for the team's second leading scorer, Jaden Keeley. 21st in the nation and first in the NE10 in field goal percentage at 63%. Misses the first free throw, and this has been where he has struggled. Leads the team in free throws attempted and makes, or did coming into today, doesn't anymore. Misses both. Waters on the floor, knocks the basketball off of Greenwood and out of bounds. So a little hustle play from Waters. Nothing muddy about that hustle. Alley-oop is a bizarre-looking play that ends up with the basketball in Nurse's hands out of bounds. So these fancy plays, they look great, but they need a little bit of work. Speaking of fancy, Nathaniel Smith trying to get fancy on Trey Alexander. May have pushed off. Here comes Waters on the run and jump. Smith took it to nowhere in particular, threw it up on the bottom side of the rim, and now a foul is being called against Franklin Pierce. This will be 2 free throws for Jaden Keeley on the other end. Really emphatic call by Brandon Camel. And the Setters with a chance to regain control of this basketball game at the free throw line. Franklin Pierce, one of the worst free throw shooting teams in the nation, but today 18 of 21 for 86%. The Setters 16 of 21 as things stand right now, with Keeley entering double figures. A chance to extend the lead to 9, and he can't do it. Waters again fighting for the missed free throw, and a foul called on Fergus. There's just no ability to make contact defensively without position. If you do and then you're sideways, you're going to get nabbed with a foul. And by rule, those are the right calls. And the tenor of the game has forced the officials to call it that way. I'm sure neither coach is particularly thrilled about it, but the physicality has forced the hand of the officiating crew. Hall, the free throw shooter, everybody will have 2 the rest of the way unless it's an and 1, and he makes the first. So this game is much too close for comfort if you're a Pace Setter fan, and Franklin Pierce would love to try to steal one, get a little bit closer in the last couple of minutes, and get the Setters maybe a little bit tight or tighter. 64-58, the tally, coming up on 7.5 minutes to play. Nurse shadowed by Miller on the bounce on the right arc, and Alexander takes it in. Nurse, left arc triple, that's good. Good night, Nurse! The lead is 9. On the three-point shot by Nurses, he's into double figures with 11. Hall beats Waters, and Waters left with no decision but to foul him from underneath. A lot of basketball for Waters up top, but you've got to maintain your body control and arm positioning in the lower half as well. And contact ruled by Kevin McGuire to be body. More free throws as this has turned into a free throw fest. Hall with 20 points for Franklin Pierce. Gets them both. DeMariante Hall with 21. Keeley offensive rebound, and the putback can't get it to fall, but more free throws. What a surprise. The third game of the season, Hall's been in the 20-plus point category. Had some odd scoring outputs. 6 points or less in 4 games and 20-plus points in 3, so you got to ride the wave when it's available. Keeley misses another free throw. 23 in a loss at Bridgeport. Second free throw by Keeley is good. Franklin Pierce may have been the only team in sports history to play a tournament earlier in the season and also play a game in between. I am not making this up. The lead is 8 for the Setters. Prendergast on the bounce to Pope. Takes the deep 2, misses, rebounded by Keeley, and Alexander will walk it up. The Franklin Pierce Ravens played at the Dominican tournament earlier this year. It had to be moved to a Friday, Sunday because Mike Ruan had a conference game scheduled in the middle of it. Keeley with the finish on the interior with ease. So on Friday, they played Caldwell at Dominican. Saturday, they traveled home to play New Haven, and they came back down to Rockland County. Another empty possession for Franklin Pierce. Fergus on the bounce to Keeley, lays it up, no good. Offensive rebound, Keeley, and the finish. Three games in 3 days, and having to travel from New York to Rindge, New Hampshire in the middle is awfully tough. And on that note, Franklin Pierce calls a timeout. Well, we'll keep it here. Franklin Pierce timeout, trailing by 12, 72-60. Keeley with 16 points, 8 rebounds, as he hunts his sixth career double-double. Jabari Nurse, 11 points, 8 caroms, seeking a first double-double. And Trey Alexander, 14 points, 9 assists. He's a perennial double-double. Scores from around the NE10. Southern Connecticut State defeats Poston in non-conference affair, 77-71. Late in the second half, 30 seconds remaining, St. A's 72, New Haven 66. Bentley beats St. Michael's 80-69. Southern New Hampshire leads Assumption 60-58 with 3:14 remaining in Worcester. And Adelphi 48, AIC 41 early in the second half. That game was delayed due to the women's game being delayed. Pope has his shot dribble off the front rim, and Hobson with the D-board clear. The Pace University women's basketball team victorious 51-44 over Franklin Pierce earlier today. Tower Lord with 16 points and 8 rebounds to lead all centers in both departments. Alexander free throw jump shot off the brick, and Hobson with a rebounding foul as he pushes off. Hall with a chance to equal his career high at the NCAA level. With 2 free throws. Can't get the first free throw to go. 5:18 remaining in Pleasantville. The Senators hold the 12-point edge in what has just essentially become a free throw shooting contest between both of these teams. Second is good. Franklin Pierce, 8 of 19 from the floor in the second half. Pace, 10 of 19. And a combined 30 free throws between these two teams in this stanza. Fergus, looked at by Miller. Alexander calls out a play. Fergus bounces to Alexander, who lost it. Not sure Alexander expected that pass. Hall fighting for a career high, too strong on the layup. And Jabari Nurse with his 9th rebound. And Keeley with the flush on the 10th assist from Trey, his 9th double-double of the season, and the Senators hold 13. Hall pass in the corner, and the 3 good from Kemp. And a timeout called by Franklin Pierce, and we'll take one as well. Pace 74, Franklin Pierce 64, 4:32 for Rosen on the second half clock. Back in a dash with more Center basketball after this. You're watching on NE10 Now and Flow College. Welcome back to the Goldstein Fitness Center in what has been a physical rock fight in Pleasantville. The teams have combined for 45 fouls and 51 free throws. And Pace on the better end of things at this moment following the Franklin Pierce timeout. 74-64. Nurse, Boyd, Alexander, Keeley, and Hobson, the 5 for Matt Healing. Trey Alexander already with a double-double, 9th of the season. A foul called in the backcourt on Miller. It'll be free throws for Nurse. Somehow that's the first on Sean Miller. Not sure how he's gotten away unscathed today. When you look up at the scoreboard, everybody on the floor for Pace has at least 3 fouls. Nurse misses the free throw, and Boyd has 4. And the second free throw missed as well, and Pace has to be careful here. Pope was looking for Miller, but anticipatory play by Alexander. Miller, Hall, Prendergast. Pope has that intercepted by Boyd, and Nurse with Hobson to his right, taking it against Hall and laying it in. Nurse with 13, and that should just about be enough. I think there's one defensive possession away from Seal on this one. Prendergast can't get it to fall. Hobson tips the basketball to Alexander, who might have shuffled his feet. And might have shuffled his feet again. Nurse lays it up, no good. Tips the basketball, gets it back, has it stripped away to Miller. A lot of contact. There's been so much contact today, and Nurse has his arm dislodged and nothing doing. Tough game to call. You got to sympathize for everybody involved. These teams are bringing it on both ends, and Hobson maybe a little frustrated from the other side of things and commits the foul. Well, you still have to be cognizant that everybody on the floor is in foul trouble for Pace with 3:25 remaining. You can't afford to foul 3 or 4 guys out of the game, and a contact has fallen out. Dante Pope, and they will handle that. It gets a 30-second respite. New player in the game, Nona Neto. The swing freshman from Manchester, England, 6'6", just checked into the game. And Mike Ruan goes just a touch deeper into his bench. Perhaps he wanted to see a guy in the scoreboard with no fouls committed. Right now, 3-4, 3-4, 3, 3-1, 1-3. The combined for everybody, other 9 players, looks more like a phone number or an area code, as the case may be. Second free throw missed, and the Centers one good offensive possession away from just about salting this one away. Alexander, ball in his hands. In the low block, Hobson couldn't get the handle. Miller to Pope, takes the 3, out of rhythm, and Hobson with the rebound. Boy, Pace will do that to you. You just look for an open shot whenever you get one, and now it's managing time and score, and nobody better for that than Trey Alexander, maybe in the nation. And a foul called on Miller, closing in on Alexander. That was a game of cat and mouse. Alexander having fun out there. There's just nothing a player like Syer Miller, despite being a graduate student, not nearly the game experience of Trey Alexander. 7 of 7 from the free throw line, the graduate student. 15 points. on the day, right at his seasonal average. Second free throw, perfect. Alexander, 8 of 8 on the day from the free throw line. And on the season, 35 of 39. Boy, when your point guard can knock him in from the free throw line with that much ease, just adds so much of what you could do. Working his way inside was Thomas, and he gets the deuce. 6 points for Thomas. Nobody's doubting that he's played hard today. Fergus on the curl. Gives it up to Nurse, and they're face guarding Alexander with under 2 minutes to go, and Miller, for his trouble, has Josh Hobson screen to look for. Alexander finger roll in the lane. Good. Count it. Timeout pace. It's a 30-second timeout. Alexander has 18, and he's great. The Pace Setters back in action just a few days from now. This is the 11th team in the nation. Travels to St. Anselm College. 3:30 the tip. Catch all the action on NE10 now in Flow College. Not sure who's calling the game, but hard to find a better broadcast crew than the folks at St. A's. Give that a listen. Ben Ulsher and all the gang up at St. A's always do a fantastic job bringing the action live to you. That's most certainly worth the price of Flow College to check that game out if you're a Pace Setter fan. Pope crosses the timeline, and he's fouled by Nurse, and this game needs more free throws. Hobson, Boyd, Nurse, all with 4. Keeley, Alexander, Waters with 3 fouls. Pope with the free throw. Well, at the end of the day, Pope's numbers will not be terrible. 13 points at least with 1 free throw remaining. But he just hasn't been able to get his shot off today, thanks in large part to the defense that Pace does. It's just they defend you from all angles and make it very, very hard for you to get easy points, and generally hold players of Pope's caliber to well under their seasonal average, or at least under within the rhythm of the offense. These points here are just window dressing. Boyd sheds Pope. Hands it off to Fergus, and Alexander will just dribble it out on the upside down logo if you're watching the TV side. That's not a D. Alexander curls it to Nurse. Extra pass, Boyd. Snakes inside. He's bumped, and how a foul wasn't called there is mind-boggling. Fergus, the runner, doesn't go. That was an ugly-looking possession, but it did take 30 seconds off the shot clock, if nothing else, as we approach a minute to go. And now a bump on the other end is called. And I can't really blame Matt Healing for being upset. The same exact play just happened on this side, and there was no call. Meanwhile, the other team gets the benefit of the call, and it's just frustrating from a coaching perspective when the game's not called consistently. Pope at the line where he's lived and has lived for the most part of the season. Makes. Both Hall and Pope are 8 for 10 from the foul line right at this moment. Chance to get the lead back into single figures, and Pope does the trick. 16 points. Fergus, Ross's mid-court. Perpendicular pass for Nurse, and Alexander, Boyd, Keeley, Fergus, and Nurse will watch, or the other 4 will watch Alexander dribble at midcourt. White with the unenviable task of guarding Alexander. And that ends up in Keeley's hands on the shot, and the O-board putback for Jaden Keeley. 20 points for JK. (20 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. Jump shot, Pope, too strong. 19 seconds to go. Keeley with the rebound, his 9th. Well, he'll end up one short of a double-double, and the Pace Setters are going to win this one 82-71. We'll have Matt Healing following the game for a couple of minutes. We'll talk about this game, and Mike Ruan has a tough task in front of him at Franklin Pierce, but there is no doubt he will stay positive and smiling and still coach his team very, very hard. Pace wins this one 82-71. Well, it's hard to imagine committing 28 fouls that nobody fouled out, but that most certainly the case. We'll have Matt Healing in just a couple of minutes. We're going to take a timeout. We'll be back in 60 seconds with Matt Healing, the head coach of the Pace University Setters, following an 82-71 victory. That's after this timeout. You are watching Pace University basketball on the Pace Center Sports Network on Flow College at NE10 now. Well, we welcome you back on the Pace Center Sports Network alongside the victorious head coach of the Pace Setters. Can you hear me? Well, we can until John stops talking, but we're having a little issue with the headset. But I think if you talk, we'll be able to hear you on the video. Trust me that we'll be able to hear you if you talk. So we'll try this after a 82-71 victory. Can you give me a mic check? This is
Mic check, mic check.
Yeah, it's not. Well, there you go. Well, I'm not sure. Well, here, we'll try it like this. This is how we're going to do this. Okay, Matt. This is the very technically sound way of holding a post-game press conference following an 82-71 victory. I mean, what isn't there fun to talk about? Defensively, you guys really dug in despite giving up the 71 points. Your thoughts following this victory?
It's probably past a lot of people's bedtime, a lot of fouls, a very long game. Yeah, I don't think we were great really at all tonight. I don't think we were sharp or disciplined with what we were doing, especially on the defensive end. But we grinded it out. Franklin Pierce is well coached. They're a tough team. They fight really hard, so I'm impressed by their effort. In some ways, we were lucky to come out with the win.
It's just the point in the season, Coach, where you're 11th in the nation. I don't think there's a team in this conference that's going to come out and just say, you know what, we're going to give them the game. So you're going to have to bring your A game every night. And Franklin Pierce tried to upset you guys tonight, but still not bringing your best game. How satisfying is it for you to not have your best game and still be able to come away with a double-digit victory?
I mean, that's still what we're striving for. Regardless of the result, we're just trying to get better every single day. It's a tough time of year. That winter break time, no classes, nobody really around campus during the day. But, we're here to get to work. We're here to get better. Our guys are working hard. It's a great group. You know that. But today really, Obviously, we came off a really tough loss, and this was going to say a lot about our team in terms of how are we going to respond to a loss. And I thought we came out with good energy. We just weren't able to sustain it, but we've got to do a much better job of being tougher, more disciplined, and executing the game plan for sure.
Coach, maybe next time we can get a second headset to work, and this will go a lot more smoothly. Congratulations on the win. We'll see you next time. That's Matt Healing, the head coach of the Pace Setters. And for whatever reason, the headset not working. We appreciate you guys sticking with us. The final score here from Pleasantville, New York, was Pace University 82 and Franklin Pierce 71 as we wrap things up on the Pace Setter Sports Network. Special thanks to all of the gang here as we wrap things up and say good night from Pleasantville.